You know who was underrated? Sister Agnes Marie, the one. I mean, this might have been before your time. She was the nun who would give us the chocolate milks at lunch if you had cold lunch. Did you ever have her?
Oh yeah, I get chocolate milk every single day. I didn't realize that we had to pay for them, so I was getting a lot of chocolate milks, and we had a big bill at the end of the month.
That's why our family ran into such hardship in 2008. And
then coming in at number 3 is who's the sister who had the bullhorn at recess who yelled at all the kids? She was really fat.
Sister Marilyn.
Sister Marilyn.
Yeah, and she wouldn't. Fun fact, she would not let us use pencils during art class because she thought it was too dangerous. And we think that society's getting soft now. Well, we were soft back then. We had to use yellow crayon instead of pencil.
That's where it all began, man. Back in the 90s.
Scott, sorry to leave you out. I know you probably feel left out of this nun ranking from our childhood grade school.
I never went to Catholic school until high school, so I actually missed the boat on all of this experience with like the very disciplinarian nuns or anything like that. I just had a very disciplinarian mother.
Yeah, I know the Williams parents. Wow, Scott, public school kid, Mike. We're talking to a public school guy.
You're out the mud, as they say.
He's out the mud. Well, Scott.
It's so funny. Like my wife, so she grew up in Southern California, but she went to a school and the community was so close together and so tight knit that she actually never got to experience even though she went to public school, she never did the yellow bus experience. So she always thought that was like the Hollywood experience. Cause like all the kids except for her and her community did that. I'm like, no, you're the one who actually was living the Hollywood experience, having your mom drive you to school every day. Like
it was.
Yeah,
man, we never got to have that yellow school bus experience either.
Only on field trip days would we get to ride the yellow school bus. We felt like we were in a movie.
You guys missed out on the climb of the hierarchy within the school bus. That was we're talking about how you get molded in like fall camp and all of these things. That's really where things started. That's where you really hit the ground.
Developed character fighting for a good seat on the yellow school bus is
every time Scott gets on the bus, everyone goes, "Seats taken."
Yeah, bowling. All right. Okay. So we will obviously be continuing our favorite nun rankings next week and throughout the season. But let's talk a little bit about some football as well. Scott and Mikey, I called this. I don't want to be cocky. I don't want to brag, but do you not remember on Wednesday when I said, is this not going to be a trap game for the Pittsburgh Steelers? The Cleveland Browns pulled it out on Thursday Night Football in the Snow Bowl. This is iconic. Will you pull this up, please, Scott? I got some beautiful graphics here. Hold on.
Just a straight up tweet. That's
that's not it. Here we go. There it is.
There we go.
There it is. Look at that. That's art right here. Thursday Night Football. Scott, thoughts on this, and how happy is your family and your dad that the Cleveland Browns have had a pinch of success?
Well, I haven't spoken to my dad yet because it's still very, very early. If you can't tell, the morning light's hitting me here. But dude, this was I'm on cloud 9 right now, and this couldn't have been like a better representation of what this division is all about. Like the beauty. This is football through and through, dude. When you see the snowfall, like I don't know if you guys ever experienced it growing up, but playing football in the snow was top notch, dude. Absolute top notch. You can't beat it. It's the ball is so slippery. It's going everywhere. You got turnovers left and right. The fact that we ended up pulling out this win is incredible. And what's even more incredible is the fact that we got a guy like Jameis Winston. The absolute character of this man is just, his legend is growing day by day. It is incredible seeing him on the mic and leading this team, because right now we're like the little giants, man. That's essentially what we are in the backfield. And I was ready to pull the trigger on Stefanski and say, get him out of town, run him out of town. Yeah. But I don't know, man. This is a big, big win for the Brownies in the dog pound.
There is hope for your city and your family. Jameis Winston is absolute just movie star. Winston, guy's an absolute sweet. He seems like a little, is this mean to say? He seems like he's a little special or something, doesn't he? Mike, you are a famous cynic. Are you going to hate on this, or do you appreciate this enthusiasm?
I am a famous cynic, but I think that this is the line. He is too positive. It's incredible.
Positive to a fault.
He speaks in parables. I'm inspired by him.
You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of a player version of what's the guy's name? Jason Sudeikis, Mustache Man.
Ted Lasso.
Dude,
Yes,
he gives off so much of that vibe, and he's just saying things now. I don't know if you've seen. I don't know if we have the clips or anything like that to pull up from his like pregame speeches. But the dude is he
just is full of catchphrases. He said after the win, he's like, "I'm about to order a W off Amazon. It's going to be here by 9 p.m." What does that even mean? Everything he just like. He says English words in these sentence structures that nobody has ever said in these orders, and somehow they are inspiring.
Dude, this is awesome. And going back to the game, like this was a win for the city. I think the city, like this was a turning point for the Browns. Yeah, we were in the absolute dumps, 2-8, man. I was about ready to just abandon them and watch them casually from here on out because it's so bad. But dude, this was like a win for the city, and they willed the team to this victory. You saw like there were also the memes of the dude shirtless in the dog pound, just like out there slamming beers. Like this was a Cleveland win, a Cleveland night, and I am so glad that we took out the Steelers because I am tired of saying that they are good and that Tomlin is doing a great job once again. Like we just popped their tire, baby.
You were gritting through your teeth having to say positive things about the Steelers in the last episode. I could tell that it pained you. So this is good for you. Did you guys ever play in the snow like this? I mean, Scott, you said you did in Indiana. Mikey, did you ever?
I only did at Hotchkiss.
Hotchkiss.
And it was so fun. I loved it. But I was the guy who had sweatshirt on underneath my pad, the hooded sweatshirt.
Oh, you would
the whole time. But it was a blast.
You would. Man. Scott, Hotchkiss is in Northwest Connecticut, okay? Lakeville, Connecticut. It's a town of about 4,000 people on meth. They call it the Townies, okay? But there's this very prestigious boarding school placed right in the middle of it. And Mikey and I both did a 5th year of high school there because we needed an extra year to get recruited. You remember when I was going through all that, trying to figure out like, oh yeah, man, I wanted to go play college football, but nobody would recruit me yet. I was too small. I need another year to grow.
Dude, it was because you talked back to Ken Potter in your junior year and didn't get the bird.
It was your reputation. It wasn't your play. It was all character flaws.
Big character flaws. Hey, I will. Me talking back to Coach Potter. Then that was came back to haunt me. But hey, it all worked out. But Mikey, I know you absolutely hated it there at Hotchkiss.
Hated it.
Wait, why?
What a mistake.
Mike.
Because I was either going to do that or do a JUCO, and I went there. Turns out all the coaches were just teachers that had to sign up for an after-school curriculum to coach. So, like, the running back coach was just the history teacher. The first day, he asked me if I knew any running back drills. He's like, hey, do you know any drills we could do? I go, what? Where am I? And
you were
from then on, I just knew.
You became Jackie Moon.
This was a mistake.
Yeah, player coach. Trading other guys
for
a
few games.
That's pretty good for a Hotchkiss ball.
But we had a lot of good talent. We had like 8 guys that ended up going in Division I, despite the leadership, shall I say?
The lack thereof.
Lack thereof. Yeah, Hotchkiss school. Check this out. Back to the Browns game. George Pickens. Scott, can you throw this up, please? Oh, yeah. On the Hail Mary at the end of the game, George Pickens. Like maybe we can get another angle of this. Like we saw a couple weeks ago, I think when the Steelers played the Commanders. George Pickens, like, just totally disregarding what's going on in the actual football play and then just getting in scraps and fights with the DBs. And if you could see here, instead of even trying to go for the game-winning Hail Mary, he just gets in a scrap with the DB and slams him up against What is wrong with this guy?
Dude, Pickens... What's crazy is I feel like he's Antonio Brown 2.0 for the Steelers. Like you never know what he's going to do every play. Like I think the other week he did like a full on like headlock body slam of a dude like on the sidelines after an interception. I don't understand this because like, dude, you have a chance to win the game. What are you doing taking on Newsome here and just throwing him into the stands?
Got this meme. So Mike Tomlin got to be. This guy is just like, talk about ADD, Mike. He just can't stay focused on the play.
Hey, there are dozens of us. He's a survivor. Pickens plays football the way that Happy Gilmore plays hockey. He brags about, I was the first guy to take off my skate and try to stab somebody.
Got the record. There we go. So, hey, good stuff though, Scott. Congrats to the entire city of Cleveland. You guys
This is an inflection point for us, man. I think if we win out, we're not statistically eliminated. I don't think. I think we have a 0.1% chance of still making the playoffs.
Hey.
I don't know if that changed after last night. I hope it did.
So you're saying there's a chance?
That's right, baby.
You're like, what was Jim Carrey's character name in Dumb and Dumber? Mike, you might be too young for that.
Lloyd Christmas.
Oh wow! Hey, Mike. Okay.
Don't ever quiz me on the history of comedy.
Okay. All right.
I have an encyclopedia of references.
That's true. I shouldn't have done that. All right. I should not have questioned your comedic.
You stepped into that trap question, Nick.
That was a trap game. That was a trap game for the Steelers. Trap question for me. All right. Speaking of Cleveland, Scott, your favorite basketball player of all time, LeBron James, former Cleveland Brown. He's making news right now, LeBron. He's announcing his departure from social media with this tweet right here. And with that said, I'll holla at y'all getting off social media for the time being. Can you see that? There we go.
Yep.
So there's a few different. He was also quoted in another article talking about how he's doing this because of all the negativity on social media that he is receiving. And I think that's probably a good amount of this, and what he is seeing and feeling extra sensitive about is all the stuff that people are talking and saying about Bronny, his son. Like we talked about it on the show, how this was just the most extreme case of nepotism since Michael Scott's nephew at Dunder Mifflin, just shoehorning his son into the NBA where he clearly does not belong. And there's a backlash on it, and people are wondering why the Lakers even allowed this to happen. And so there's a lot of negativity on social media that LeBron is facing. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
Look, man, part of this is like, I get it. Some people can be like wild on the internet. It's a crazy place, and things can be said that are just so hurtful. But like at the same time, dude, you're bringing this upon yourself by the way in which you're acting. Like, you have moments where you're calling for it and asking for it, just like we're probably doing on this show. But like, dude, it's you're opening yourself up when you start talking about certain things, or like you literally get your son drafted when it's clear nepotism, as you're saying, or it's just, dude, he's not necessarily worthy of a second round draft pick, like to the Lakers even. Like,
no, not one bit. This was a case of mass hypnosis, the mass hysteria that we were all pretending that Bronny James was a NBA draft prospect and that he should be suiting up for the Los Angeles Lakers.
This right here, this Addison Smith tweet is spot on. You're a grown man, dude. Just like, why are you telling us this? If you don't want to be on social media, then just don't do it. Like, no, you don't have to make an announcement.
You got to make your dramatic departure tweet, dude. That's how you do it nowadays,
dude. Some part of me, look, this might be a hot take, but part of me feels like kind of bad for LeBron, right? Because like, look, he grew up in an environment where like he didn't have a father to kind of teach him the ways of like being a grown man, and we're getting situations. I think if you want to pull this up, the thread where it's just like the dude is like lying for no reason at all. Like there's so many instances where he's just bringing this upon himself, where it's just like, dude, why'd you even say that? You didn't even need to say that. Like, you can be quiet, and that's just as good of an answer. Like, you're LeBron James. You don't need to say everything.
Dude, it is actually a little bit sad, because it is like, and we'll play the audio of some of these these extreme lying cases in a second, but it is a little bit sad. It is like the reason you would guess that somebody is lying like this is to be liked and to be accepted and to be perceived in a certain way. And that is what all of these lying situations scream of. Here, let's play a couple of them out loud here. I mean, we could do this for like 45 minutes. We'll just play a couple.
He's just looking for his father's love.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I had one coach, and he used to say, put yourself in situations where you're not comfortable.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite saying.
That's my favorite saying. First of all, that's not even a saying. Okay, here's another one.
I was at home watching it. I watched the whole game. I've seen the whole game. I was at home watching the game, and I said he was going to, before the game even started, when I seen, I said he was probably going to score 70 tonight. I don't know what made me say that. And my friends was with me, and they was like, okay. So when he got to like 70, I was like, well, he might as well go for 80 now. So I mean,
okay, he predicted when he was going to go for 80. This one. All right, this is the last one we'll show right now. And if you're watching this, you can go on this thread and go on this for hours. This one is egregious.
Godfather. It is a question not related to the game, but since it has been a lot of publicity yesterday and today about Godfather Part 2, which is the scene or the moment or the phrase or the quote you like more from the movie?
Oh, from The Godfather. It's too many different phrases and too many different lines in that movie to just categorize one.
But which is the one which inspires you, represents you more?
I mean, each movie is 9 hours long. I mean, what do you want me to do? I mean, it's so many.
So there is
funny.
yeah, it's funny, but it's also weird and pathetic. Like, what are you doing? This is like, all right, I'll admit, when I was in second grade, I did lie to the other kids at recess saying that I had seen Star Wars Episode 1 Phantom Menace because everybody in the class had seen it and I had not seen it. And they were talking about the Jedi battle and how cool it was. And I was like, oh, yeah. That was my favorite part. But granted, I was 7 years old. I grew out of that. LeBron is 35 here, still doing it. What do you have? Can you defend this? You want to defend this, Mike?
Yeah.
You want me to defend this? He's acting like a toddler, a little boy. I can't buy in a defense. I will say your Star Wars fandom and the facade you've put up is so funny. Your true fandom lies in Zelda, if I recall. You had a Zelda club, right?
Okay.
All right. Trying to gather friends this way.
This is new. I didn't know this.
If we are sticking to lies that I told in first grade recess, yeah, I did start a Zelda fan club. And when other kids at recess would misbehave, then I would kick them out of the club. And so I wielded and abused a lot of power in first grade.
See, these are Nick's early signs of his tyrannical nature. Okay. And it leaks into Nick, as head of the brothers. Okay. He created this own little financial ecosystem within the house of dollars in which he could control the currency. They were called Mihos. Okay. He controlled the currency, and he built this little what's it called? Economy.
Sure.
Where we would do things for each other. We would do favors in exchange for Mihos. And he was the Federal Reserve, and would just get all the brothers to do things for him all the time, and give out these little currency bills that he created.
Mike,
pro quo, I think. That's how he ran it.
You're talking about this in what seems like a negative light. I think that's an incredible initiative and great innovation.
He saw the opportunity and seized it. That's what he did.
Not even Machiavelli was doing that at that age.
I'm more Machiavellian than Machiavelli. What is his first name?
Mr.
Mr. Machiavellian.
Hey, going back to the LeBron thing here. This is the classic, like, oh, I got a girlfriend. She just goes to a different school. This is the exact same energy, man.
Yes. But I do think that what you said is actually kind of sad. Like it's easy to poke fun at him because he did grow up without a father. And this is like a clear sign of searching for a little bit of acceptance from other people. And as funny as it is, and as kind of weird as it is, you can point to that, and that is very possibly the reason that he lies like this.
Yeah, and like I gotta say, like it would, even if I were in his shoes, it's so easy. I get the sense that like when celebrities, especially when they become so famous, so young, like, dude, it's so simple to fall into this trap and into this way of thinking, because you got everybody just fawning over you left and right. And you're always told how great you are. But like, ultimately there just seems to be this like deep seated sort of insecurity, even though you have all of that adulation and all of that validation from everybody else. It's like, you're still searching for it individually. And this is just like a weird way that it seems like a lot of celebrities just fall into this. Like you could name them, but I can't right now.
98 others.
Who's Justice Bieber?
It's a crime fighting.
Okay, well, here's the question. What's the net worth achieved where you stop getting sympathy? It's like, yeah, you have these weird personality tendencies, but you have this level of wealth.
That's a good
How much
question.
pity can I really give you?
Do you have a cutoff, Mike? Do you have a cutoff?
Yeah, everybody's got a number.
Okay. You tell me
No,
your
I
number. Tell me your number off camera. Everyone's got a number. Yeah. But then the other thing is I sometimes hesitate to bash on LeBron because I do think, granted he does some things that annoy me. This is one of them. But like you said, he got famous very, very early. Grew up without a dad, and he was thrown into the spotlight since he's, 15, 16 years old, named the chosen one. He's on magazine covers since that age. And he has remained, what seems, at least to us in the public sphere, as far as we know, he's never had any sort of like relationship scandals. He's been married. He's a father, and he seems to be a good family man as far as we know. And so we do have to give him props and respect for that. So he does have some of these shortcomings, and it's kind of funny to poke at, but we do have to give him a little bit of props for that.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to give him his flowers. He seems to be a solid dad. And I mean, he does everything he can for his kids, clearly, getting one of them on the LA Lakers.
Too much even.
Yeah, too much even. But yeah, I mean, he married his his high school sweetheart, I think, too. And like, to your point, never really been in the scandal light. It's all been about like people attack him for maybe ego hunting and promotional stuff and some of his takes, just like we saw here. Like, he's just teeing himself up to get just eviscerated.
Yeah. Yeah. So there we go, LeBron. He's probably in his last couple years playing, and Bronny will take over. We got to touch on this. I know we don't talk too much about hockey. However, Scott, will you pop this up? Yeah, hockey yet. However, it is snowing here in Schwabish Hall. It's very, very cold. I slipped on the ice walking to my car this morning to go to the gym. So I think it's very appropriate that we touch on some ice sports. Alex Ovechkin, one of the greatest hockey players of all time. He's broken his fibula and is expected to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. The Washington Capitals announced Thursday. And he is currently sitting with 15 goals, or leads the league with 15 goals, and is 27 away from breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time NHL goal-scoring record. Damn, the fibula. I'm actually a little bit surprised that it's only 4 to 6 weeks with the fibula. Don't you think?
Yeah, this is not. I didn't think bones mended that quickly, especially the fibula. But like, there's a different level. Okay, so there's always this argument, right? Who's tougher, NFL players, football players, or hockey players? Like, one, I've gotten to know the hockey world just from a distance. One, I grew up in the Midwest where it was like far more of culture. I grew up like ice skating out on the pond and the frozen lakes and all that kind of stuff, and lost it once I went to the Pacific Northwest. Yeah. But like, the culture there and the toughness of those dudes is impressive. Like, they go through, and what I love about the NHL too is like, when they have injury reports different from, say, the NFL, they don't necessarily pinpoint what it is. It's just like, oh, the guy broke his arm. He has an upper body injury. He'll be back in 3 weeks, like, kind of thing. They just like, they don't project out there their toughness, but they just like swallow it and just play through it. And like, it's clear, like, if this guy's trying to come back and break this record, like, he's so close at 39 years old. He's doing everything that Aaron Rodgers wants to do in the NFL, and he's just balling out still at seemingly at an all-time high if he's about to break Gretzky's record.
Well,
dude,
Scott, can you call it balling out? He's pucking out. Okay. Okay. All right. So watch it.
Yes. Watch it.
He's hitting that hockey ball around pretty well. Yeah. No, that's a great point. He's doing everything that Aaron Rodgers wishes he could do. Man, hockey players are incredibly tough. Like, I know at Yale, I mean, because hockey is quite big at Yale as
massive,
well.
Dude.
Right? Did you ever go to any games there?
Oh, yeah. Like, the hockey dudes were awesome, first and foremost, because they were like the older guys, because they went through the whole minor league, of
they're all
so
like 3 years older or something.
Yeah, dude. So they were like grown men as freshmen. Like, they were 21, 22, like, just hanging out. So like, their level of life experience was like far exceeded the majority of the very sophomoric underclassmen at Yale. I had to do it once, but dude, it was cool to like get to know those guys, get to know that culture. I ended up like, even in college, dating a hockey player, female. Don't worry.
Hey, we're not judging.
She was Canadian, right? So like, I don't know. I got entered into the entire Canadian love for the sport, and hockey was like one, it's difficult to watch on TV. Like as an American, I was always turned off by that because I was like, dude, I can't even see the freaking puck. Like, how am I supposed to follow this game? It's just people skating around. Like that's for the Olympics every 4 years. Like, but when you go and experience the game in real time, in person, the speed is so infectious, dude. You get into it. And like, I understand why the NHL and its popularity is growing because the speed of the game, the intensity, especially come playoff time, it's at another level. And I think it's like slowly creeping up to where I could see it being maybe approaching number 2 in the US as popularity, in popularity stakes against the NBA.
Dude, I think 100%. I mean, I got the chance to go to one NHL game when I was at Georgetown, and I had like really no interest in hockey at all. We got free tickets for the football team, got to go see the Washington Capitals play, and going in there with no expectations. I was absolutely shocked and appalled at how cool it was and how much I enjoyed it because the speed, it really is, and the physicality, like, we do want to say that, you know, we're football guys here on the show, and we want to give all the props and respect to football guys. But I think that hockey's really in there. Maybe number 1 in terms of toughness, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely up there, and it's over time. I'm starting to question whether or not football players are the toughest, especially with like injuries coming through the pipe and everything like that. And then I'm seeing guys like this at 39 years old, just broke his leg, but he's coming back in 4 weeks. That's wild. But dude, to your point, like, okay, I'm talking about it potentially overtaking the NBA. I think that's because of the physicality of the game. Like, that's why it's the popularity is growing in the US, because people are realizing, oh, there's another option of like tough nose, like competition. Dudes are not pansies on the ice. Right. They're out there. And like the NBA is going the opposite way, where there's flopping, there are technical fouls for staring at someone. They're like shit like that is like making people fall away. And now hockey is that sport that's coming through the pipe. And I'm here for it, man. I'm ready to watch some hockey this season.
Yeah, I think that that's a great prediction because I feel like that represents. I mean, I know hockey is very much a Canadian sport and it's really popular in kind of Northern Europe, but I feel like those ideals line up with American ideals more than basketball in the NBA, at least the way it's going right now. We like tough, we like gritty, we like pushing through the pain, and so I would love to see that pop up as the number 2 sport. So speaking of number.
Wait, I have 1 point on the hockey.
Yeah.
Okay, I never met hockey players, so I got to Hotchkiss, the East Coast. Okay. Yes, really respect them. They said they would talk about how, like, if you didn't start skating when you were 2 and 3 years old, you have no opportunity of making
no
an
chance.
NHL. It has to be that.
Really?
Yeah. To you. So it's like your parents have to get you skating early, or you really have no chance of even having a future in the sport.
Oh, that's actually,
dude,
fascinating. I mean, dude. I mean, I think I went ice skating one time as a conscious adult, and it was just one of the most embarrassing, uncoordinated situations. You know, I think I'm sitting here thinking I'm like a solid athlete, and I just kept falling out.
It's one of the most humbling experiences as an athlete, like putting somebody out on the ice. Like I said, I grew up skating, and I was pretty solid just because everybody grew up skating and you had to be in order to be a cool kid. But like, dude, I put on skates probably 6-7 years ago, and I was weeble wobbling everywhere, dude. I had to step off. Before I got one of those granny walker things to skate with.
You tried to do the Iron Lotus.
We got to pull that up. The Iron Lotus. I hope people know what that Iron Lotus is. Yeah, there we go. So we'll try. Maybe we go ice skating this winter, Mike, when we get home for Christmas, huh?
Good. I already know what I'm going to wear.
You got your ice skating outfit?
Yeah, the whole thing.
He's got the whole giddy up. All right. Speaking of top 2 sports, we got to talk about the number 1 sport in America. Back to football, but college football. Scott, you might be a little bit offended at what I'm about to show right here, but please still pop it on up. Just shows how funny. I'm never deleting this app. So Elon Musk, the owner of Twitter X, tweeted, "Notre Dame has been restored," and it's a video of actually Notre Dame, the cathedral. And then somebody comments, "No, dude, they lost to NIU at home, Elon."
Dude,
this
one shots fired, but well received. I gotta tip my cap to this one because I too, as a Notre Dame fan, agree with this. They lost. We have not returned since the glory days of '88. It's been quite some time. So premature tweet here by Elon.
Yeah. Hey, come on, Elon. But Scott, I was wondering this. I want to ask you this because I feel like it's kind of time for Notre Dame to join a conference. I mean, this might be a little bit of a hot take, and I'm wondering how you feel about it and how Notre Dame fans feel about it. It's like, okay, they've been independent all these years, but now all this conference realignment. What is the reasoning for them to continue being independent? Is it just so Notre Dame can feel special and like, oh, we don't belong to a conference? What's the deal?
It's a multitude of deals and multitude of factors. First and foremost, I couldn't care less whether or not they're in a conference or not. I like the idea of standing true to tradition. So I'm not going to like say they need to join the SEC or the ACC. I think it would actually be a detriment for them to join the ACC because that's poo-poo.
Oh yeah, ACC would be bad, but like
but like they joined it in every other sport. So like outside of football, they're in the ACC for women's volleyball, basketball, so on and so forth. So like all of them. I think that's actually going to hurt them if they do that. So what I think Notre Dame needs to do is get their heads screwed on straight and figure out how to play football again, because this is ridiculous. They have such a massive pull being Notre Dame and the tradition that they have. The fact that we haven't been able to figure out how to win a national championship since '88 is honestly embarrassing. Like it's like you have the embarrassment of riches at your feet, and yet you can't seem to get the right players. You can't seem to get the right coaches and reinstill that sort of traditional aspect of football, that hard-nosed ground and pound football, West Coast offense. And like, it's hard as a fan to sit here year in and year out watching the Browns suck, watching Notre Dame suck every time. And it's like, okay, they don't suck by record, but dude, like the product on the field, the eye test for football, like if you have any semblance of understanding of the game of football, Notre Dame doesn't deserve to be in the positions that they are in the rankings. Like if they go up against some solid SEC teams, bro, it's going to be a slaughter. Like
yeah, man, that's what I want to ask you. I mean, because Notre Dame's sitting at 6 right now. The most impressive win that they have is over Louisville, number 15. Louisville, it's a basketball school. And like, okay,
Lamar would have words for you.
Who would?
Lamar Jackson.
Sorry, Lamar. Okay, yeah, okay. It's a basketball school plus Lamar
and
Jackson.
Brom.
All right, okay.
It's a good win.
It's a good win. All right. It's a above average win, but is that deserving of the number 6 ranked spot? I mean, no. What do you think it's going to be like this weekend against Army? Do you think that that's going to be a close game?
Dude, I'm actually quite, I don't want to say scared because I don't have skin in the game here, but like as a fan, this is a trap game. And Army, dude, they're sneaky good. Granted, we beat Navy, who was sneaky good early on. We absolutely slaughtered them. I just feel like this might be a different vibe. Look, we're susceptible. We lost to NIU at home. Like anything can happen on this day. So like, it's tough to see like Army, SC coming up. Like those will really be telling. We need to spank both of them in order for me to feel like, okay, we might have a shot here. We might be deserving of like the 12th spot, but that's it. Like, it's on to next year for me, because I think even if we win one game in the CFP, it's going to be a bloodbath come the following game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now as things shake out, if everything was to stay, isn't Notre Dame set to face Alabama in the first round?
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. So bad draw.
Here's what they need. Here's what Notre Dame needs to turn the culture around. They need a new walk-on figure like Rudy. Huh? Rudy 2.0.
You have any suggestions, Mike? You got someone to put in there?
No.
Just the idea.
I would bite that bullet as a walk-on. I was a culture builder.
Yes.
You were basically the Rudy of Oregon State.
I was. More hated and was more of a cancer in the locker room, if you will. But yes.
No, but yes, Rudy-esque in some respects. Glue guy.
I like to go for guys' knees on Thursday and Friday practices. Keep them sharp.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll make a movie about you too. Oregon State. Hey, speaking. Hey, I mean, Scott, I know you're all up in your feelings about Notre Dame. That's your guys' family school. Our family school, Oregon State, is in even a much more dire situation. At least you guys are in the conversation and ranked and winning games. Oregon State is just it's not good right now.
Hey,
Mike, how do you feel about that?
It's expected.
Why?
I love Coach Bray. Okay, he's a great coordinator. He would always say, "I never want to be head coach." He would always say that. He goes, "That's the worst job in football. You have all the pressure. You can't relax." He just likes defense. He's an incredible coach, position coach, and incredible motivator. But just, I don't know. I don't think head coach is where he likes to be and where he's best at.
Dude, yeah. Look, this is me throwing it out here to our audience here of 200 plus, but give the head coaching job to Kefense Henson. Like, dude, seriously, that guy is the man. Like, you talk about player coaches. Like, I get it. At a positional coach, like, you can be a player coach to a far greater degree than a head coach. But I think Kefense is one of those dudes that just gets it across the board. He doesn't, he can connect with everybody, because everybody who's coming into the locker room, like, they're coming from different walks of life, right? But Kefense was one of those dudes that just got down to the person and didn't care about all the other bullshit going on in the world and anything like that. He was just like, yo, you're a player on this team. I'm a coach. Like, we're trying to win games. Let's work from there in that aspect of things and not just add all this other crap to football.
Scott, how do you know him so well?
Dude, he was a position coach at Yale when I was there. So he was a wide receivers coach, and I think he spent some time playing or calling plays as well for the offense toward the end of my career. And when my brother Eric, because he recruited Eric out of St. Ignatius in Ohio, and dude, he's the man. Like, I love Kefense, and I hope he gets a shot, because he's one of those guys. There are so many dudes at the position ranks that just never get a shot at head coach. He's one of those guys that needs a shot.
Yeah, I feel like with head coaches and even Mikey, like, talking to Jordan Newman, who's our head coach here in Germany for the Unicorns that Mikey and I had, and when I talked to him, he says, hey, when he's talking to young coaches, he says, never go past the coordinator role, because then all of the shit just flows up to you. When you're a coordinator, you get to just focus on football. You get to focus on your craft, whether it be offense or defense. But then when you become the head coach, you have to deal with all of these tiny, minute problems from everybody. Everybody brings their problems to you, and it becomes almost less about football and more about some of this minor problem solving. But I mean, really quickly, what do you think makes a good head coach? I mean, I know we touched on this, but the last episode, but what is the most important thing for a head coach? Is it football knowledge or is it culture building?
Dude, after going through this, I would have to say it's culture. Like, first and foremost, because Mikey was talking about, he was a cancer to the locker room. If you're not controlling, like, the culture of your team, and you have
hold on, by the way, that was a joke. Mikey was actually a very good piece.
But he's right, though. There are those individuals, while it may not have been Mikey, there are those individuals who are cancers to locker rooms. And if you're not recruiting right, and you're not bringing in the right people with the right mindset, or the ones that are ready to sign their name on the line and buy into the program and the culture there, like, that's where head coaches really shine. Like, being able to build programs from the ground up with the people that they have under their helm. Like, that's the biggest sticking point for me for a head coach. That's also for them. They build out their coaching tree so that those guys can handle the X's and O's. They can be the gurus of the offense and the defense and the special teams. Like, they can do that. But like, head coach, man, like, you're looking at it right now with Jim Harbaugh, culture guy. You're looking at it with Tomlin, culture guy. Like, and then his brother, the other Harbaugh at the Ravens. Like, it's just they're creating culture and they're having success, sustained success. I know they may not be winning Super Bowls every year, but dude, it doesn't matter. Like, they're building organizations that function well, and they get W's, and they succeed exponentially better than many others.
I think that it really all comes down to culture and like being able to instill that all the way through an organization. All right, sticking on college football. Lastly, on college football, let's just touch on this: the Heisman race right here. Here we go. All right, dude. This is like people are talking about Travis Hunter. Okay, so Ashton Jeanty is obviously the Heisman front runner, but people have got Travis Hunter here in the conversation, and many people are saying, "Oh, actually, Travis Hunter should be winning the Heisman this year." Look at this graphic right here, and we see actually the difference. Obviously, granted, it's very impressive that Hunter is top 10 in both of these.
Yeah,
but what do we like? Are we going to give the NFL MVP award to Taysom Hill because he does a bunch of different things?
Dude,
like
great
jack
point.
of all trades, right? Like I think we're getting a little bit blinded and a little bit starstruck just by the fact that Travis Hunter is playing both ways and doing multiple different things. Granted, he's doing multiple things above average, but does that make him the proper award winner for the Heisman Trophy? I don't think so. And I think that it's kind of silly that we even have him in the conversation like this, and it should be Ashton 100%. What do you think?
Look, you got to give Travis his flowers. He's doing something that I don't think we've seen in a long time. And I think outside, you mentioned Andy is playing both ways, right? But like, I think before that, the biggest and most like popular two-way player was actually Owen Marisic when from Jesuit High School. He went to Stanford under Jim Harbaugh and played both ways. It was getting like a lot of national publicity, and then went into the NFL with the Browns, baby, and played there for a couple of years. But like, I don't know. I think a lot of what's going on with Travis is like he's getting some benefit regardless. Like, dude, he's a baller. He's doing something I could only dream of doing. But I think he's getting a lot of energy and a lot of publicity strictly because he's in and around prime, right? Deion Sanders, Colorado, all of that. So he's getting a lift up in a way that I think Ashton Jeanty is not. He's in Boise State. He's up in the Pacific Northwest, just like kind of buried away, tucked away in the Northern Rockies. But he's doing something that's like unprecedented. The fact that we're talking about numbers close to Barry Sanders, and he is not just like above and beyond the first outright dude for Heisman here is kind of laughable. Like it's so strange that we're chasing sort of the glitz and the glamour and the fame of like of a program and attributing that strictly to one player, where we got a workhorse, an absolute workhorse. I'm talking about the Broncos up here with Jeanty in Boise. And like, I just think the numbers reflecting Barry Sanders type-esque performance, like, dude, this is stupid that we're even having this conversation. Cause yeah, Taysom Hill should be MVP of the NFL if we're talking about just snaps taken and overall performance.
That's the thing. Is that really a metric that we want to measure and judge the Heisman by, is snaps taken? I think that's it. Mike, what do you think, Mike?
I actually completely agree with your points. I have no contradiction. Why
way to go, Mike.
I'm trying to think of something opposing what you're saying, but I'm always pro running back Heisman in the conversation. And I think just because you're doing a lot of different stuff doesn't mean you're necessarily the best at each of those things. It's just you're a jack of all trades, master of none in a way.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he is, but that's the case.
He's still very, very good and very, very talented at all those. But I do think he gets, you said it, he gets a big boost of national spotlight attention because of Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, and what he's done at Colorado, which granted we do have to give them to give them their props for, because I was trying to hate on Colorado a little bit and call them just kind of a showy squad. So we do have to give them that credit squad right there. Yeah. There we go.
Didn't Christian already break Barry Sanders' record for the all-purpose yards in a season? So shouldn't they be comparing him to Christian?
That's a good point. Because
was that in college when he was at Stanford?
Yeah, he broke that record in college, and he didn't get the Heisman for that.
Yeah.
So if Gentry's getting the Heisman for breaking the record that Christian broke and didn't get the Heisman, that's
that was crazy when Christian didn't get the Heisman.
Crazy. Talk about a workhorse. And like, dude. Okay, you guys tell me this, because like the Heisman's different than the MVP in the NFL, right? So MVP in the NFL, it's the most valuable player to the organization and the franchise, and then overall the 32 that are in the league. Heisman, like, it's hard to make. Like, I would like to see the Heisman be also somewhat of the MVP of their team too, because it's like, yes, they may be the best college football player, like Travis Hunter. Like, if you look at each phase of the game, he wins out over Jeanty. But like, Jeanty is a piece of the puzzle to a team that will probably make the college football playoff solely because of him. Like, there's still kind of a question mark as to whether or not, like, would Colorado be as good or close to as good without Travis Hunter? Maybe. But without Jeanty, dude, Boise State's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, he is their entire offensive identity. And at least on the offense with Colorado, they've got the best quarterback in college football right now. He's probably going to be the number 1 draft pick, Shedeur Sanders. And so it's a combination of those two. Yeah. And so there's not, I mean, I would even argue one could argue that Travis Hunter would not even be the MVP on his team because of Shedeur. You could argue that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's why I'm like a little bristled here. Granted, I will take the humility here. Like, I cannot even light a candle next to Travis Hunter and what he could do on the field. But like, dude, this just feels off. It feels like
light a candle.
God, I've seen you light plenty of candles. Birthday party.
Light all the candles you want.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all I gotta say is like he's feeding off of the energy from Prime. Give Prime his flowers. Like, dude, he's brought Colorado back from the depths. Like, after the debacle of last year, everybody was jumping on him. Like, dude, he's producing. I
am so curious to see what happens with Deion because Shedeur is going to leave. He's going to go to the draft. He's probably going to be the number 1 draft pick. A lot of rumors floating around about Deion leaving Colorado. However, he does like totally deny these. He says, and I respect this, he says, my purpose is to help mold young men, and I have much more of an impact doing that with these young guys in college at this age as opposed to in the NFL. However, at the same time, Coach Prime is always finding his way to the spotlight and where the lights are the brightest, and that is the NFL. Yeah. And with his history with the Dallas Cowboys and all the woes with the Dallas Cowboys this year, and the fact that Jerry Jones truly needs to do something drastic to get that organization back on track. Like, an organization this valuable, this popular, this big of a brand cannot be run like this. The possibility of, if the Dallas Cowboys are able to get fall and tank to get the number 1 pick and also hire Deion Sanders as their head coach next year. These rumors are circulating. How would you guys feel about that?
Look, I think it's very realistic. Jerry will do something like this, and that wouldn't surprise anybody. I don't think Prime should necessarily. I don't think he's going to leave until Shiloh's done, right? So I think he just got the recruit from LSU, stole him out from underneath Brian Kelly's nose. So quarterback's going to backfill Underwood, Shedeur when he leaves and goes to the pros. I don't think there's necessarily the rush for Prime to go to the NFL. Because look, the Cowboys, even if Jerry tries to go for him and he doesn't take it, the Cowboys are going to get another head coach. They're going to suck another 2-3 years, and there's going to be another opportunity for Prime to take it once Shiloh's gone and he's already brought Colorado to prominence.
But Scott, what if Dallas has the number 1 pick and they pick Shedeur and Deion gets offered that position? How would you pass that up? Because the stars are not going to align again like that. It's not like he's going to get a chance to coach his son in the NFL. And that's actually a very realistic possibility.
It's like reverse nepotism. The son gets the dad the head coach job.
He's the reverse of LeBron and Brian.
Take notes, LeBron, because I mean, there's not going to be another chance like this. And so do you pass that up? Do you think a guy like him would pass that up?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think that's going to be such a wildly difficult decision for Prime, but he seems to be a dude of his word. I mean, if he's there to develop players, what better way to do that than in the college program? Like we've been talking for this whole past week about how shitty coaches can be. But like, if you have the opportunity to be a great one and guys connect with you and you're helping them along the process, like it's going to be interesting to see what he does. I don't think he's going to pull the trigger.
He does talk about, I mean, in his interviews, he talks a bunch about being a man of purpose and, finding that purpose in your life, especially when you're done playing football. And this dude had it all playing sports, and that he has found his purpose here of molding these young men. And this is what is most important to him, and not the shiny spotlights and being in the NFL or anything like that. So this is what he has said, and this is what he's put out there. And we'll see if he stays true to that, or if he just becomes like every other college football coach and ends up just being a damn liar. Those are the options.
Those are options. Who knows? I do think if he went to the Cowboys, him and Jerry Jones would butt heads a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Two big egos. It's like you and me, Mike.
With all those resources, the best facilities ever, all the money that the Cowboys have, he could do some damage.
do you think that they would put curtains up there and fix the sun problem?
I think that Deion, that would be his first rule. That would be the first thing he does because he's a player's coach. He knows it matters. You look good, you feel good, you play good, you don't have sun in your eyes.
True. There you go. So we will see where that's a good little rumor gossip corner that we have right there, because those are all just total rumors, but maybe we see. Mike, now you have a couple questions for us that you've been musing.
I do. Let me check my notes.
Check your notes.
His homework.
Yeah, Mike, you did your homework?
I did it. I actually did it.
PTSD of getting called on in class.
I was so every time I got called on in class, I have to go to the bathroom. Okay, these are my musings. I've been ruminating over these the past 20 hours. So curious as to what your guys' thoughts are. And the first question is, with this technological wave, what we're seeing with AI, okay, it's making its way into all these different businesses, all these different fields. How do you think AI will be utilized in football? Could it eventually take the place of an offensive defensive coordinator?
This is
Michael.
Very, very interesting. I was thinking about this for a while the past few weeks.
What are you, LeBron? I actually that's actually my favorite saying. It's my favorite question, actually.
That's
my favorite question to be asked. No, but seriously, I was thinking about this. I was actually thinking about this because this conversation is huge in kind of my world of the filmmaking and video creation. And there was a really interesting interview from Ben Affleck where he was talking about AI coming into the film world and in the movie making world. And basically, he thinks that AI will not be able to, at least for the time being, be able to replace human beings when it comes to some of these creative endeavors, because right now how AI works is that it takes things that are already pre-existing and kind of cross-pollinates them and mixes them together, but does not necessarily create something new. And this would be the same thing, I think, with creating football plays. The creativity that some of these coordinators bring, like in some of these iconic play callers or guys that just have really exciting offense. Think about some of the stuff that the Kansas City Chiefs do and some of these plays that seem ridiculous and hilarious, but actually end up working. That would AI be able to generate this type of stuff and create something new? I don't think that it can, because right now the way that it works is that it just takes from things that already exist. And so I think it might be an interesting tool that you can use to find trends, of course, and to just aid a coordinator. But in terms of replacing a coordinator or a play caller, I don't think so. Scott?
Wow. I am going to go the opposite here. I think it's inevitable, especially with how data-driven organizations seem to be lately. And now I don't think it's going to happen here in the next 5-10 years, but things are just exponentially growing technologically. Things are getting faster. AI is learning literally every millisecond of the day. The one thing I think you may have, there may be some truth there, is the fact that, like, there is a human element that's lost with AI that I think will always need to be part of the football game, right? So one, it's like it's very difficult to predict what is actually going to occur each and every play, with the differences of athletes, players, minds, vision, sport intelligence, like all of that. Like it's difficult to calculate all of that. Granted, that's just with my stupid human brain and not against the AI. But at the same time, like there's an element of surprise that I don't think that AI can necessarily calculate for. And it's like the human surprise element. And so I think it's going to be integrated, and I think it's probably going to winnow down, call it staff, in the future, but I don't think the human element will be completely eliminated from the game. I just think AI will start to dominate more so than it is right now.
And play calling. I mean, do you want to watch a football game that's just robots telling people what to do?
No, dude.
America.
I'm not a fan.
This is America.
I'm not a fan of this, but I'm also a Browns and Notre Dame fan, so I take the pessimistic route every single time.
As you should.
You know what? Maybe the Browns should start using ChatGPT right now, even in its preliminary phase, because it's probably better than
PLZ.
PLZ help. It is interesting, but are you like it? This would be the idea, if you are a subscriber and buy into the analytics way of thinking of football, the data way of thinking about football. And this has been kind of an interesting conversation lately. There was some teams that lean heavily into the analytics and you go, oh yeah, we go for it on fourth down here because the analytics say so. But well, first of all, are you one of these guys? Are you an analytics guy? Because when I talk to some of the people, the coaches that I know in the football world, people are pretty split. Some are so for it and some are so against it. So where do you stand?
I think there's some benefit to it. Some. But I would take the Coach McCarthy take. Stats are for losers. That's what he said, and that's what I stand on.
Nice.
That's because he doesn't want anybody to look at his stats. Don't look at these stats. Stats are for losers, actually.
For losers. Stats are for losers. Stats are numbers. Numbers are for nerds. Nerds are losers. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think you just will never. Unless we reach true AGI, which is like generating true intelligence on par with human intelligence, how are you going to account for, okay, this player that you see, his body language is a little bit different, or you just some of these slight, very subtle human things that it takes another human to I don't even know the word. Recognize. There we go. Recognize. What were you saying, Mike?
It can't account for gut instinct. That's the only difference.
Exactly.
In football, so many decisions are based off of instinct and gut.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's like Mike. You and I always talk about that. Like people come up and ask us, like, "Hey, what did you see on that play? Why did you do this? Why did you read this?" And every time, I'm like, what? I'm just playing with it. I don't know.
People who are like making decisions during the middle of the play.
Yeah.
What? How are you playing football like that? I just turn my brain off and let my instincts take over.
Yes.
If I had to think, it'd feel like school and I'd hate it.
Well, okay. That's the crazy thing is like, yeah, you can play to that degree. And if you have that innate sort of vision of the game and intelligence of the game, you can play that way. But I think what's going to bolster it are the people that don't necessarily have that innate intelligence of the game to a certain degree. If they can implement the data and the film that they watch already and make that second nature because they just hammer it down into their brain, it ultimately becomes like reactionary and you just have that vision and you're not even thinking about it cognitively. So you can free up your mind to do other things. So like maybe there's some element there. I'm not a stat guy. Like I think the pendulum's actually swinging back toward, hey, just the human, raw, tough element of football, bringing that out, because we keep pointing to that with the coaches and the trends going on right now in the NFL. So I think the pendulum swung back, but there is an equilibrium that will inevitably come to fruition. It's just, I don't know how soon that will be.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about like, we love talking about Dan Campbell on this show, and he'll go for it or fake a punt in these situations that statistically and analytics would say, don't you ever do that. And he does that. He's gutsy and ballsy, and it seems to pay off for him. And
dude,
I'd like to see a computer do that.
Tesla robot.
Okay. Well, hey, we do hold Tesla stock here, so we are for that. So, all right. So we'll see when AI starts to take over football and we start watching robots call plays. There we go. Mike, do you have another one? Or should we save it? We're right under an hour right here. That's good time.
I think we should save it. That was good.
That's good. Let's do that. Left 59 minutes. It's good.
But I definitely had another question that I
His presentation's over. Class dismissed.
Mike, you're so happy you got to escape because you didn't make your other question. You have the weekend now to finish your homework.
Good.
All right, there we go. Big game this weekend though. Indiana, Ohio State. We're gonna see if Indiana is the real deal.
Yeah, man. I mean, let's see if Signetti earns that $64 million contract he just signed. $8 million a year, dude, to stay at IU, which like kudos to him. That's awesome, dude. That's talk about like, what is it? Succeeding later in life. Like everybody's trying to chase success like early on. This dude just stayed the course and took the bag home toward the end.
I respect that. You know who you wouldn't have to pay $64 million to though? An AI. So we'll see. See if it pays off. All right, I'm gonna go eat some stew for dinner. I'm like
That's a medieval that sounds so German.
One ration of stew and one ration of bread.
Yeah, so maybe some Lebkuchen. Are you gonna have some Lebkuchen as well?
Is that because you think you're fat?
Economy's not booming out here. Okay. All right. Good Good stuff. All right, everyone. We will see you on Monday. Guys, have a good weekend.
All right. Peace.